The news had been a slow drip of dread, whispers of a virus, then a plague, images of crowded hospitals, empty streets. We watched, at first with detached concern, then with mounting fear. The day we sealed the bunker door, the sky was choked with smoke. Acrid smell of burning, distant screams carried on the wind. The world outside was ending. Inside, the air was stale, thick with the smell of concrete and fear. A fluorescent hum, the constant whir of the ventilation system, a mechanical heartbeat in the tomb-like silence. We were a dozen souls, huddled in a steel and concrete cocoon, cut off from the dying world. The silence was heavy, broken only by the rasp of static from the old radio. No news, just endless static. A grim symphony of the end. Our world was now this cold concrete walls, the weak yellow of emergency lights, the steel door that separated us from the chaos. Each day bled into the next, marked only by the dwindling supplies and the gnawing fear. The world outside was a fading memory, a nightmare we had escaped, but the fear lingered. Would this steel shell be our tomb? The weight of the unknown pressed down. We were alive for now. The bunker was our sanctuary, a steel womb, cold and sterile, yet it held the promise of life. Years of planning, provisions meticulously stockpiled, food, water, filters, seeds, enough to outlast the apocalypse. Or so we hoped. Every inch was designed for survival. The air filtration system hummed, a constant reminder of our fragile existence. Water recycled, purified, every drop precious. Walls lined with shelves, stacked with canned goods, a testament to our foresight. Our lives now measured in cans, in gallons of water. Days turned to weeks, then months. We settled into a routine. Chores divided, tasks shared. The monotony was a comfort, a shield against the fear. Each day survived was a victory. We clung to the routine, the rhythm of our new life, but the silence was a constant presence, a heavy blanket, smothering the laughter, the conversations. We spoke in hushed tones, as if afraid to wake the world outside. The bunker, our refuge, was slowly becoming our prison. The silence was a living thing. It crawled into your ears, burrowed into your mind, a constant reminder of our isolation. The world outside was gone, and so was the world inside. No laughter, no music, only the hum of the machines and the whisper of our fears. We moved like ghosts, each lost in their own private hell. The shared trauma hung heavy, a shroud over our souls. Conversations were short, clipped. No one dared to voice the questions that gnawed at our insides. How long? What if? The unspoken fears echoed in the silence. The children felt it the most. Their laughter, once a bright spark in the gloom, had faded. They moved with the same quiet dread as the adults. Their eyes, wide and questioning, reflected the fear that permeated the air. They had known nothing but this concrete world. We tried to create normalcy, shared meals, stories told in hushed tones, but the silence always returned, a constant reminder of our fragile existence. We were alive, but were we truly living? The air was stale, recycled, heavy with the smell of our own existence. A metallic tang, the scent of fear and confinement. Each breath a reminder of our precarious situation. We were living on borrowed time, each inhalation a countdown. The ventilation system whirred and clanked, a mechanical lung breathing life into our tomb. We were utterly dependent on its rhythmic gasp. A sudden silence, a change in the familiar hum, sent shivers down our spines. Our lives hung on the whirring of fans, the gurgling of filters. The air, though recycled, was life. It was the thin thread that connected us to the world outside. The same air that flowed through the vents had swept across the ravaged landscape, carrying whispers of a world lost. A world we could only imagine, a world we might never see again. Each breath was a gamble, a trust fall into the unknown. We were breathing the past, the present, and perhaps the future. The air, heavy with our hopes and fears, held the story of our survival. Every inhalation a prayer, every exhalation a lament. Time lost all meaning. Days and nights blurred into an endless cycle of darkness and artificial light. The only clock was the dwindling supplies, the ticking of our own mortality. Each day survived brought us closer to the unknown. We clung to routines, marking time with meals, with chores, with the daily check of the air filters. The monotony was a comfort, a shield against the fear. But the fear was always there, lurking in the shadows, whispering in the hum of the machines. The calendar on the wall, frozen on the date we sealed ourselves in, became a cruel mockery. A reminder of a world that no longer existed, a life we had left behind. The days on the calendar were crossed out one by one, a countdown to an uncertain future. Time was our enemy and our only solace. Each tick of the clock brought us closer to the day we would have to open the door to face the world outside. But it also gave us another day of life, another day to hope, another day to prepare. The food was bland, repetitive, a culinary echo of a world lost. Canned fruits, vegetables, meat, the taste of survival, not of life. Each bite a reminder of our deprivation, of the world we had left behind. We ate in silence, the clatter of spoons against metal bowls the only sound. Each meal a ritual, a celebration of our continued existence. We savored each bite, knowing that every can consumed brought us closer to the unknown. The food was more than sustenance, it was a link to the past. The labels, faded but familiar, evoked memories of sun-drenched aisles in supermarkets, of overflowing shopping carts, of a world where abundance was taken for granted. Each can held a memory, a taste of a life we might never know again. We ate not just to survive, but to remember, to hold on to the flavors of the past, to keep the ghost of normalcy alive in our hearts. The bunker was a world of shadows. The weak yellow of emergency lights cast long, dancing phantoms on the walls. Our own silhouettes, distorted and grotesque, followed us like silent accusers. The shadows whispered of our fears, of the darkness that lay outside. We spoke in hushed tones, as if afraid to wake the silence. Conversations were short, clipped, each word weighed down by the oppressive atmosphere. We were strangers sharing a tomb, united by fear and circumstance, but isolated by the walls we had built around our hearts. The silence was a breeding ground for suspicion. Every creak of the metal, every sigh, every cough was amplified in the stillness. We watched each other, wary, distrustful. The bunker, our sanctuary, was slowly becoming a cage, a battleground for our own internal demons. The shadows whispered of doubt, of betrayal, of madness. We fought against the encroaching darkness, clinging to the remnants of hope. But the fear was a relentless tide, slowly eroding our resolve. Rationing was a daily ritual, a solemn counting of cans, a meticulous measuring of water, each drop, each morsel, a precious commodity in our subterranean world. We were accountants of survival, our lives measured in ounces and gallons. The dwindling supplies were a constant reminder of our precariousness. Each day, the stacks of cans grew shorter, the water level in the tanks dropped lower. The numbers, stark and unforgiving, became our new calendar, marking the passage of time. We clung to the routine, the precision of the measurements. It provided a sense of control in a world where control had been wrested from our grasp. The ritual of rationing was a way to impose order, to stave off the chaos that threatened to engulf us. But the numbers also whispered of an end, a day when the last can would be opened, the last drop of water consumed, the day we would have to open the door and face the unknown. Hope was a fragile thing, a flickering candle in the overwhelming darkness. We clung to it, nurtured it with stories, with shared memories, with dreams of a world reborn. We spoke of the sun, of the wind, of the taste of fresh food. We conjured images of green fields, of blue skies, of a world where the air was not recycled, where the only sound was not the hum of machines. We read to each other from tattered books, stories of adventure, of love, of life. We sang songs, our voices cracking and uncertain, but filled with a longing for a world we might never see again. Hope was a lifeline, a reason to endure another day, another week, another month. It was the belief that the steel door would one day open, that we would step out into the light, that the world would be waiting for us. The door was our nemesis, a steel barrier, cold and unyielding. It separated us from the world, kept us safe, but also imprisoned us. It was a constant reminder of our isolation, of the unknown that lay beyond. We checked it every day. The heavy bolts, the reinforced hinges, the cold metal that felt alien to our touch. A symbol of our fragility, of the thin line between survival and oblivion. The door was also a symbol of hope. It was the way out, the portal to a new world. A world that might be hostile, but also a world that held the promise of sunlight, of fresh air, of life. The day we would open that door loomed over us, a day of reckoning, of fear, but also of hope. The day we would have to face the consequences of our survival, the day we would step out and reclaim our place in the world. The air was different, crisp, clean, carrying the scent of earth and something else, life. We had opened the door, a crack at first, then wider, cautiously stepping out into the light. The sun, a forgotten memory, was blinding. The sky, a vast expanse of blue, was breathtaking. The world outside was a ruin, but it was alive. A landscape scarred but resilient, reborn in the ashes of the old. We stood there, blinking in the sunlight, drawing the fresh air deep into our lungs. A collective gasp of wonder, of relief, of fear. The world was a different place, but it was our world. We had survived. The bunker, our sanctuary, had served its purpose. Now it was time to rebuild, to relearn, to rediscover. The world was waiting.